I'll never forget the day I heard Kemi crying in the small alley next to her stepmother's house. Her sobs were soft but gut-wrenching, echoing through the narrow street. I was carrying a basket of oranges, but something about her voice made me stop and inquire into what was happening. That moment unraveled a story of cruelty, jealousy, and ultimately, triumph that the entire community would talk about for weeks. Let me take you back to the beginning of this tale. Kemi, a bright 12-year-old with big dreams, lived with her stepmother Bisi and her younger half-brother, Tunde. Kemi's life hadn't always been this difficult. Her mother, Adunola, had been the heart of their family, a graceful and loving woman who was known for her talent in weaving aso-oke fabric. Tragically, Adunola had passed away from a sudden illness when Kemi was just 9 years old. The whole township mourned her loss, but none more than Kemi and her father, Baba Kemi. In the aftermath of Adunola's death, Baba Kemi fell into a deep depression. Friends and relatives urged him to remarry, not only to help raise Kemi, but also to bring stability back into his life. A year later, he married Bisi, a widow with a young son, Tunde. At first, everyone thought it was a good match, a blending of two broken families. But things quickly turned sour. Bisi's true colours emerged once she settled into the household. While she doted on her son Tunde, giving him the best food and clothes, Kemi became an afterthought. The little girl was made to do most of the house chores, from scrubbing the floors to washing Tunde's clothes. Any mistake, no matter how small, would earn her a slap or harsh words from Bisi. "Why are you so slow, Kemi?" Bisi would often bark. "Is this how your late mother trained you?" Baba Kemi, though aware of the tension, seemed powerless to intervene. He spent long hours working as a mechanic in another township, and by the time he returned home, he was too exhausted to deal with the household dynamics. When he did try to speak up, Bisi would snap back, claiming she was only disciplining Kemi for her own good. "She's a stubborn child," Bisi would say, her voice dripping with feigned concern. "You'll thank me later when she grows up to be responsible." Kemi rarely complained to her father, knowing it would only cause more arguments. Instead, she bore the mistreatment in silence, finding solace in her schoolwork and dreams of a better future. When Kemi's school announced its annual cultural day, the entire township buzzed with excitement. It was more than just a school event. It was a celebration of identity and pride, where students showcased traditional outfits, dances, and food from their heritage. Parents began preparing weeks in advance, visiting tailors and planning recipes. The streets of our small township were alive with chatter and anticipation. Kemi's class had decided on a vibrant Yoruba theme, and she couldn't stop talking about it. Her excitement was infectious. One sunny afternoon, as I sat peeling oranges in front of my shop, she came running up to me, her face glowing with joy. "Auntie Ada," she exclaimed, her voice bubbling with excitement. "I'm going to wear a buba and iro just like my late mum's wedding attire. Mama Bisi said she'll let me use it." Her late mother's wedding buba and iro were legendary in the township. Made of intricate aso-oke fabric, they were said to glisten under the sunlight like woven gold. Even years after Adunola's passing, people still spoke of how stunning she had looked on her wedding day. For Kemi to wear that outfit was not just an honor, it was a way of connecting with her mother's memory. "Are you sure Bisi agreed to that?" I asked cautiously, knowing how unpredictable her stepmother could be. "Yes!" Kemi nodded vigorously. "She said it's okay as long as I take care of it. I promise I'll be extra careful, Auntie Ada." Her excitement was so pure, so hopeful, that I couldn't bring myself to dampen it with my doubts. A few days later, I was walking past their house when I heard raised voices. I froze, recognizing Bisi's sharp tone cutting through the air like a blade. "You think you can wear that dress and look like your mother, eh?" Bisi spat. "You will not outshine my Tunda on that day. Never." "But Mama, you promised." Kemi's voice was trembling, pleading. "Don't you dare argue with me," Bisi's words were venomous. "You are nothing like your mother. You don't deserve to touch her things." I felt a knot tighten in my chest. I couldn't see what was happening, but the pain in Kemi's voice was enough to make my heart ache. I knew Bisi's jealousy ran deep, but this felt especially cruel. I decided then and there to keep a closer eye on Kemi in the coming days. The morning of Cultural Day arrived, and the entire township gathered near the school field. The air was filled with the aroma of jollof rice and fried plantain, and the vibrant colours of traditional attire turned the field into a living canvas. Parents beamed with pride as they adjusted their children's outfits, and students practiced their dance routines one last time. But Kemi's seat remained empty. My stomach churned with worry as I scanned the crowd, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her walking slowly down the street toward the field. My heart sank. Her outfit was a disaster. The once beautiful buba and iro had been slashed and torn, barely held together by loose threads. Her face was streaked with tears, and her shoulders were slumped in defeat. It was clear that Bisi had deliberately destroyed the dress, a final act of cruelty meant to shatter Kemi's spirit. I rushed to her side. "Kemi, what happened?" She said I didn't deserve to wear it," Kemi whispered through her tears. "She waited until this morning and then she tore it up." Her voice broke, and she buried her face in her hands. Anger surged through me, but I knew this wasn't the time for confrontation. Kemi needed help, and fast. "Don't cry, my dear," I said firmly. "We'll fix this. Trust me." Luckily, my neighbor, Mama Abeni, was a seamstress and had a heart as big as the sky. Together, we whisked Kemi to her shop. Mama Abeni worked magic, repurposing pieces of the torn fabric and adding her own vibrant touches. Within 2 hours, Kemi had a new outfit, a stunning blend of her mother's legacy and fresh creativity. When we arrived back at the school, all heads turned. Kemi stepped onto the field, her confidence restored, and the sun seemed to dance on her attire. Gasps and whispers spread through the crowd. One of the teachers, Mr. Adisa, approached the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kemi representing Yoruba culture with a unique and beautiful attire." Kemi beamed as she joined her classmates. Her grace and poise captivated everyone. Meanwhile, I noticed Bisi lurking near the back, her face a mix of shock and embarrassment. Later that evening, the community gathered near the market to discuss what had happened. Everyone had seen Kemi's tears and her triumphant return. Whispers grew louder until someone finally called out Bisi. "You should be ashamed," an elderly woman scolded. "How could you ruin your stepdaughter's outfit out of jealousy?" Bisi stammered, her face flushed with guilt. I didn't mean..." But the damage was done. The township's elders decided on an intervention, warning Bisi that any further mistreatment of Kemi would not be tolerated. As for Kemi, she became a symbol of resilience. Her story spread throughout the township, inspiring others to stand up against cruelty and support one another. The following week, she came to thank me and Mama Abini. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said, her eyes brimming with gratitude. "No," I replied. "You did it with your strength and courage. We just helped." Moral of the story: kindness and community support can triumph over jealousy and cruelty. When we stand together, even the darkest moments can lead to brighter days. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments. The end.